I'm John Kaiser at the Metals Investor Forum in Toronto, March 4th, 2023, speaking with Dominique Doucet, CEO of Sirios Resources. Dominique, welcome to Toronto.
Thank you, John.
Now, before I get into more detailed questions, you have been involved in the James Bay exploration for at least 2 decades, maybe more, and it's been a tough slog. It's not been a lot found. There was the Renard discovery, there was the Eleanor discovery, but not much. But suddenly there is this explosion of interest in this area. What's your reaction to what's suddenly happening to your stomping grounds?
Reaction about that is, we in mining exploration, we have to be ready for progress or any change in the mood of the market, but also in the context of the valuation of metal, which currently occur these days with all the geopolitics changing all the value and the importance of many metal that were not really we didn't care about much in the past. So we have to be in phase with the actuality of what's happening in the world.
Now, a decade ago, you acquired the property that's now called the Chichu project, which has a different type of mineralization than what everybody else has been chasing. It's not orogenic, nor is it a sediment-hosted type of system such as Eleanor itself. It's an intrusion, a tonalite system that has disseminated gold in it, an intrusion-related gold system. And you've spent the past decade delineating this. You've got 2 million ounces, somewhere between 0.8 and 0.9 grams per ton. What remains to be done with this system? Is it fully delineated, or is there more expansion potential left?
We think that there's more potential for expansion, and with two things. Within the intrusion, within the intrusive hosting rock, and also outside the intrusive in the metasedimentary surrounding rocks, because the latest development we had on the project last fall, we find clearly mineralization of gold outside and away from the contact between the metasediment and the intrusive itself. So we start to find good gold grade, like for example, 2.65 grams per ton of gold over more than 11 meters, strictly in the metasediment. It's opening a new window, a new possibility that we find a satellite deposit or even a second deposit on the same property. So it's a great potential for expansion in both type of lithologies.
Now, you haven't done a PEA yet, but this will be an open pit operation. It's got to be standalone. It can't become mill feed for the Eleanor facility. That's to the northwest, because it would be a different type of flow sheet. With all this lithium mania 2.0, turning this into a great Canadian area play, and establishing that this is a world-class lithium district, I imagine transportation infrastructure will come in, which will make the cost of developing the Chichu as a standalone open pit operation lower over time. Now, I understand that the deposit is right on the border, and because it's open pit, you have to have your pit constrained, and you can't design the pit. And so this other company, 2 companies, Newmont and Fury Gold, they own this other property that doesn't have a lot of mineralization. Maybe it has some, but they have never bothered to really delineate it. Does it make sense at this point to consolidate these 2 properties so that you can do a full pit, which when I looked at the numbers, it could be maybe 3 million ounces that's available for harvesting, and that doesn't even include what might be on that property or what you might find in the metasediments bordering this intrusive complex. Do you think the time is right for everybody to sit down and figure out, can we consolidate this into one project?
You're quite right, John, to say that it's quite important. Consolidation of the deposit, as a potential, we see the potential of the mineralization related to the reduced intrusive system is probably between 3 and 5 million ounces of gold potential. This is in addition to the additional potential that we may have in the metasediment. So it's quite, and you're quite right that the consolidation of the deposit will occur. And I think we have actually the most favorable context to succeed a consolidation with collaboration of the two neighbors. And I see it as we should have great progress on that specific task this year.
Now, many of the geologists who are now getting involved in lithium exploration, they have no experience with it. They have to work their way up the learning curve. You, however, Sirios found the Pontax system. There's no resource estimate yet, but you found it and started drilling it and then spun it out into a separate company. So you have in-house experience with lithium. And earlier this year, you were looking, you're watching all this craziness starting to happen. You could see Corvette has a $2 billion valuation Patriot has a $2 billion valuation based on a system that could be like a 50 to 100 million ton lithium deposit, somewhere between 1 and 2%, truly world class. And because you have been trying to figure out, this whole Chichu project, you've looked at the whole property, you look if there's more of this gold stuff, and you realize that years ago you actually have spodumene boulders on the property. Tell me about the potential. What is this potential that I know you've expanded the claim to the northeast. Are you sitting on something potentially bigger and better than Chichu itself?
I mean, depending of the price of lithium, but actually it could, because, and all the James Bay area has a good to high potential to find lithium. So it's a case with our properties because the location they are located are being done with several very good metallurgic to find gold, but we also realized, and we did find that the good metallurgic to find gold are also the same to find the good lithium bearings pegmatite. So I can say that if we look at all our properties, actually our Chichu, where we have our main gold deposit discovery, is also the one having the highest potential for lithium, as we already identified these lithium bearing boulder during previous mapping program. However, in this year, we didn't care really about any lithium find, which is not the case today. So we'll do a systematic approach of follow-up on these boulders. That's why we increase the size of our property to the northeast, which is the up-ice direction up of these boulders. So this summer we'll do, in addition to the work, the gold exploration program we will have a good and solid follow-up program strictly for lithium potential on Chichu for sure.
Now I noticed that the extra claims you added to the northeast walked across the boundary between the La Grande and the Opunaka sub-provinces, and the Opunaka is where I guess everybody's been looking for gold. Is this boundary between these geological domains relevant to lithium?
It's the most important metallitic in James Bay to find gold and lithium. By the way, it's a coincidence, but it's not really a coincidence because it's related to metallurgic geological process. But yes, you're pointing exactly the main metallitic to find both gold and lithium. And all our properties are located or straddle these favorable regional setting, which is the border between the Apinaka subprovince and the Lagrange volcano-plutonic subprovince. Very important to find a new lithium deposit.
Now, you've recently announced a staking of 3 separate lithium projects farther to the southwest from Chichu. There's all kinds of companies, from sophisticated groups to cannabis promoter shells. They recognize Lithium Mania 2.0 is a big deal. The James Bay is shaping up to be a great Canadian area play. And I suspect by the end of the day, everything will end up staked. And then people will want to know, okay, what method did you use to select your claims while there was still open ground? Was there a special, what's the secret sauce that you used to select those claims that you have staked?
I can talk about the secret sauce because we most of the land has been now acquired by very good explorer, promoter, and many type of person that don't know really how to explore. However, I can talk about the recipe. We already talked about it. It's the border of the Apinaka subprovince and the Lagrange subprovince, also proximity of volcano sedimentary belt, and close to be close of the intrusive, the largest intrusion that normally are at the basis of the system generating these swarm of pegmatite. So it's a mix of these ingredients. We're also using the lake bottom sediment anomalies like many others, but for me, the lake bottom sediment anomalies are good and indication, but probably not the best metallotech. It's the mix of all I just mentioned that is the optimal recipe for serious find. So that's why we're quite confident that the odds of discovery for lithium on our property is really high.
Now, the Plex project, Brunswick optioned from Virginia, and the Corvette, which ultimately, well, it's not for Virginia, but these are the Corvette project and the Plex projects were generated by Virginia looking for orogenic gold. And we already know that Corvette has a world-class pegmatite emerging. And in fact, the drilling on the Plex project, drilling a gold target, they drilled through pegmatite, but because it was worthless, they didn't bother assaying. So they don't know whether it was LCT or just ordinary S-type. But apparently there's no relationship with these orogenic gold systems and the pegmatites. It's just the structural feature that was exploited by two different systems. But what you're chasing, the relationship to the granitoid intrusions, that's relevant to these intrusion-related gold systems similar to Chichu. If you get bankroll to do serious sampling and all that, are you in a position to perhaps discover additional disseminated intrusion-related gold systems along with whatever pegmatites might be in the vicinity?
Yes, for sure. And I should add to this that at the Chichu, in the Chichu deposit, the high-grade zone are in fact pegmatite vein system within the intrusive body. So, but through the years, for all the years we did exploration in James Bay, since the beginning we were not afraid to get involved outside the volcano sedimentary belt themselves, outside and exploring in the intrusive domain close to these volcano sedimentary belt. And that's one of the reasons that we find Chichu, one of the reasons how we generate additional project. So we were in position to acquire land that even in the past, Virginia did some work, but they were not really interested when they got into intrusive domain. But again, it's a success for us through the years to don't be afraid to deal with intrusive system. And I think it will deliver really good surprise in the near future.
Now, one final question. You have a property called Akion, which you've had for some time. And in December, I was surprised you did a farm out to Sumitomo, which is a big, giant Japanese company. And this property has a bunch of high-grade showings and has 100 shallow holes into it. What is Sumitomo doing optioning a sort of high-grade vein system that doesn't seem to have any big tonnage footprint implications?
It could have big tonnage implication. That's the reason why. I mean, the previous work done on the property is related to agreement we had with a previous partner, which was only focusing on trying to do 2,000-ton bulk sampling of high-grade material rather than do a systematic exploration approach on the overall of the property. So, and we were constrained because that partner was leading the project. So that's why in 2016, we had the opportunity to buy out the partner and to reacquire the full ownership. However, since 2016, we didn't really work on the property because we were spending all our effort and money toward our discovery, Chichu. So it was kept on the shelf. But now, what is really important is the quality of the partnership we have with Sumitomo. We are the operator of the work. We are currently working on that property today with the first winter program designed to work on the area where we have swamp and wetland that we were unable in the past to work during summertime. So now we're doing trenching, systematic till and soil sampling over the wetland. And by the way, the bedrock is only less than 4 meters deep at Akion. But if there's a wetland, you can not see the bedrock, you cannot collect soil or till sampling, but we are doing it for the first time on that property today.
So they are taking a big picture approach to this, covering a much broader area that's obscure, that hasn't been looked at in the past. And when do you think this might be ready for drilling?
That's the goal of the work that we are doing this winter and this summer. So at the end of this year, it should be drill ready. So we may expect a first drilling initiative for next winter.
Excellent. I've been talking with Dominique Doucet at the Metals Investor Forum in Toronto. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you very much, Ron.